Welcome to the On Deck podcast presented by LineStar. I'm Shannon Sommerville here with Tyler Wiemann. We've got quite the show for you today. We are talking daily fantasy projections, of course, our home run calls, prop bets. The first thing I want to start off with, though, is the story of how I single-handedly ruined Nestor Cortez's no-hit bid yesterday.
You were also actually the good luck charm, too, with your Nasty Nestor shirts.
I was so hyped for Nasty Nestor that I went and bought T-shirts. And, of course, I had to get my co-host one as well so we could both rock them. So I think we brought him some, good energy. And
I agree.
He was dealing yesterday. Absolutely filthy.
But then what happened?
Okay. So here's what happened. Well, I got a little excited, a little ahead of myself as I see the stat line, which you pointed out to me very subtly, might I add.
Yes, I tried to do whatever I could to not say it.
Of course, the baseball tradition of not being able to speak of a no-hitter during when it's going on. You know, this is tradition, and I just said, you know what? I'm just going to say it.
She got a little excited.
Got a little ahead of myself. Turned to one of our other coworkers who was busy working. I guess we weren't at the time. And I was so excited that I said, hey guys, Nestor Cortez is throwing a no-hitter. Tyler, your face was drops in sheer disgust with me. And then
you were so confident in it. You're like,
I said,
I'm going to say it.
And you were like, are you sure you're doing the right thing here? Like, I said, yep, it's okay. It's okay. Literally seconds later, as we're watching, Eli White singles to center to break up Nestor Cortez's no-hit bid. It was like in the cartoons when the character gets struck by lightning after, something
Pretty
happens and it was just the bolt of lightning. And I couldn't sleep at night. I'll tell you.
I thought you were going to cry.
I tossed and turned.
I thought you were going to cry.
I feel so guilty. And if somehow Nestor Cortez sees this, it is all my fault. I will take that one for the team. Sorry, buddy. So that was the story yesterday.
Yes.
Today is a new day.
It is.
We will move on and talk about some other pitchers, but, still a little, unsettled after that. And, I learned my lesson, though. That's all that matters.
You sure?
I did learn my lesson.
Okay.
It was a lesson I needed to be reminded of.
It was a hard lesson to learn.
All right. Let's learn some lessons about these pitchers, shall we?
Let's do it. Let's get in there.
All right, our chalk report. We're going to start off with some high-owned pitchers today for daily fantasy. We're going Astros righty, the 39-year-old Justin Verlander going up against the Minnesota Twins. He is 38% owned in both FanDuel and DraftKings. Now, we are primed for quite a pitcher's duel today at Target Field. You got Joe Ryan on the other side, but Verlander has simply been awesome this year, sub-2 ERA. He's been solid, but just 3 strikeouts the last time out against the Mariners. That was his lowest strikeout output of the season. And, however, he did hit 100 pitches in that, which he said was a huge milestone for him. So how do you see today playing out for him against the Twins, who are a pretty good team?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge milestone just because he's coming off the injury. He's only had a few starts being back. But he's pretty much the same pitcher he was before. His FIP over his last 20 starts was right around 3.5. That's where it is now. His ERA is good. The one thing that has changed, you mentioned the strikeouts, is so far this season, he's at 26% strikeout rate, whereas in years prior, he was at 31%. So it could be a little bit of just a small sample size. Could be he is a little bit older. He's coming off another injury. Right. But we'll wait to see that. But with the Minnesota matchup, they are above average offense. However, they do strike out 24% of the time. The implied team total is only 3.1. So it's a decent matchup for him. There is K upside, low total.
Hey, maybe this is the game he finds, the strikeout numbers.
It could be.
Could be. And however, are you willing to pay up for him in this scenario, or would you be willing to kind of fade this type of situation given the ownership?
There are a ton of good pitchers on this slate.
Sure.
So I will probably limit to one of the three higher owned guys that we talk about. But I'm not going to totally fade just because of ownership.
Okay.
I may have a little bit. I haven't made a lineup yet today, but there's a decent chance.
Okay. So another great pitcher. You're talking about all the awesome pitchers we have today. We've got Aaron Nola for the Phillies going up against the Mariners today. He's also been pretty good. 3.38 ERA. He's got the 10th highest strikeout per 9 rate in baseball at 10.64. So how do you think he fares today against the Mariners? Do we like this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, he's been good. He's another guy that's sub 3 ERA, 3.5 FIP. So it's pretty similar to Verlander in that case. The one thing is his strikeout rate is 31%.
Yeah.
Seattle is top 6 versus righties, but they strike out a decent amount, and the combined K rate today is 26%, 3.2 implied total. So all cases, similar. Nola, Verlander look to be very similar plays. Verlander is just a little more expensive than Nola is.
So would you?
I'd probably go a little more Nola than Verlander.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, next up we have another pretty awesome pitcher, Mariners lefty Robbie Ray going up against the Phillies today. He's about 28% owned on DraftKings, 10% on FanDuel. 4.38 ERA. Interesting case here because this is your reigning Cy Young winner coming off a rough outing, though. 4 earned runs, 6 2/3, 5 strikeouts. And he's been, I want to say inconsistent, but he's still been good. And so what do you kind of make of, A, the season he's been having, and 2, what he's likely to do today?
So I think last time you pitched, I made a comment to you that I was going to wait for him to show me that he's back into Cy Young form. He still hasn't done that.
Right.
So I'm probably still going that route. Ray struggled a little in 2022, 5.1 ERA, 4.1 FIP over the last 5. Just to show you a comparison, it's a 3.2 ERA and 3.8 FIP over the last 20. So he's definitely been worse. The other thing is his K rate, 20.6 so far this year, whereas last year he was closer to 29%. Philadelphia is a top 10 offense in most stats versus lefties. However, they do strike out at 26%. So there is some upside there if Ray can find his strikeout stuff.
So it seems like you're almost thinking to stay away from this matchup.
Personally, I'm going to stay away until Ray can prove it. I would rather go Nola. There's not much ownership difference, or even go up and pay for Verlander. Than
All right, let's talk about some lower-owned players. We've still got tons of value pitchers out there.
There's a ton of pitchers I like today.
There's, great matchups. Yeah. Marlins lefty Jesus Luzardo included in that versus the Diamondbacks. Now, he's just 5% owned. He's got a 3.08 ERA, and he's been fairly reliable for the Marlins. And he's someone who's shown he can put up 12 strikeouts when he did that the first game against the Angels. So we know the strikeout potential is there. Is this a nice kind of risk-reward situation?
I like this play a lot. Luzardo has always been a top prospect. He did struggle last year. Went to Miami, and he's kind of hit his stride. He has a 33% K rate this year, 3.3 FIP, so he's been stellar. And Arizona can't hit lefties. They're worse in the league at 66 WRC plus and a 22% K rate. So I like it, especially if nobody's there. I think there's some nice upside and low ownership.
And D-backs are a team kind of like the Reds. You kind of want to take the pitcher who's facing them. They haven't been great this year at all, like you mentioned, especially with their splits.
And especially versus lefties, yeah.
All right, let's take a look at Braves righty Kyle Wright. He's a little bit more owned at 10%, going up against the Red Sox, top 10 ERA, top 20 in strikeouts and whip. He's been just solid for the Braves. And the Red Sox are 20th in batting average versus righties. So certainly a great matchup for him today. Yeah,
and he's another guy that struggled a little bit last year, but he's been a top prospect for a while, but he's really come into his own. 2.16 FIP, 30.6% K rate. he has just legit star pitching numbers. Sure. Great StatCast data. And meanwhile, Boston's 25th in WRC plus versus righties, 22nd in ISO, 20th in average. So they've kind of been struggling. They strike out at 22%.
Yeah, they have not found it. Yeah. And they're going to need to, especially in
Wright probably should be owned with the Nola and Verlander.
Yeah, I like that play.
I think that it's just that, the sample size of him being good is 5 games, whereas those other guys are seasons long.
Yeah. Well, Padres righty Mike Clevenger, he had a pretty impressive start, and he's going up against the Cubs today, 10% owned today. He wasn't sure. He said he wasn't sure if he was even going to pitch after the elbow surgery, that he had the lockout, the knee sprain. I think, was he rained out? There was a rain out, so it got delayed.
Almost died.
Okay, talk about that, because you came in and told me about that. That's a crazy story that I think needs its own. Go ahead.
Yeah, so he was on a plane, and the plane went from 30,000 feet to 5,000 feet, I guess. That's almost wild. Instantly. And luckily he had somebody next to him who was a pilot and knew exactly what was going on and was trying to talk him through it. But he said there was just no talking him through it, and he was just like full on hysterical.
Panic mode.
Thinking he was going to die. Oxygen mask came out and all that.
That is scary.
They made an emergency landing. I guess one of the engines failed, but all is good.
Man, this guy's been through it.
He's had an interesting few years.
And so his first start since Tommy John in 2020 was against his former team. This story just gets better and better. Okay, but what do you like about him today against the Cubs?
Well, Cubs beat up the Padres pretty good yesterday.
You had a front row seat just about to that one.
It was rough. It was rough. I was with a Cubs fan, too.
Well, that makes it worse.
They rubbed it in a little bit.
I'm sure they did.
But I think the Padres get their revenge tonight. The Cubs are middle of the road versus lefties. Versus righties. And then they strike out at 25%. Clevenger has a career strikeout rate of 27%. Although this year it is only 19% in his one start. I would expect that to come up a little bit, just like Verlander. But he looked really good until he got a little tired. He walked a couple batters. Relief pitchers came in, gave up a hit, and therefore some runs. But he looked great, and I think $6,900 on DraftKings is just way too cheap, especially when they let him go 95 pitches last game.
And he's going to settle in. I'm sure there was a lot of emotions going on in that game. And
totally. And
you only see him getting better, right?
He pitched well. He definitely had some command issues. But, I mean, he's a really good pitcher.
Yeah.
And $6,900 for somebody that is that caliber of a pitcher and fully stretched out or about fully stretched out.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
sign me up.
I like it.
I also love this play. Diamondbacks, Madison Bumgarner going up against the Marlins. Just 2%
Another story here, too.
Another story. Last time out, of course. You might have seen it rolling around the internet like it was.
Versus Miami, too.
Versus Miami Marlins. He was ejected after the first inning by Dan Bellino, who basically, you might have seen the awkward exchange where he just stared him down until Madison Bumgarner looks up and he's like, "What are you doing, man?" Maybe dropped an expletive in there, and then he's like, "You're gone." Bellino has since apologized for that. But I see this as a game where Mad Bum just comes in and just kind of pitches with that chip on his shoulder.
And he does that too. Yeah.
And just gets dialed in. I could totally see a performance like that for him today.
And the other thing is this one is at home. He was away for that. For his career, he has a 2.85 ERA at home, 3.7 away. So he has that going for him. He has the extra little chip on his shoulder, the Bellino chip, if you will.
Yeah.
And the Miami versus lefties, 211 average, 91 WRC plus, striking out at almost 30%, 29.7% strikeout rate. Now, Mad Bum's only at like a 15% strikeout this year, 17 over the last 20 starts. But with Miami striking out that much versus lefties, I like it. Mad Bum's super cheap also.
I wouldn't like to be one of the umpires today in that game.
Yeah.
I would not.
That's true.
I'd be terrified of Madison Bumgarner
Absolutely
going off like that. But
one other thing that I would like to mention real quick, I didn't kind of put it in our show notes here, but Gary Whitlock is another one that's really interesting. He's had crazy strikeout numbers. He's going against Atlanta, who can strike out a lot. The one thing is the weather is nice there, so a ball could fly out a little bit. But
he's a situation where he was in the bullpen, and so he's made the transition, and he's been awesome.
Yeah, and he's getting to the point where he's stretched out to go far enough into the game where he's actually kind of useful,
valuable, and
if ownership gets up on him high, then I might go elsewhere, but right now it looks pretty low, so I'd like him also.
Nice play there. Yeah. All right, let's check on some stacks for today, and we'll check out our high-owned stacks. And the first one we've got is Miami Marlins going up against Mad Bum, and my first reaction was, are you guys crazy? Going against Mad Bum after he's going to be pitching pretty upset and mad and want to prove something to Dan Bellino specifically. Yeah. So what do you think intrigues people about this particular matchup?
I mean, Mad Bum isn't the Madison Bumgarner of old. Sure. So that's one thing. His FIP is 4.8, so he hasn't been that stud pitcher we always we used to know him of. But he's 6,900 and that's kind of why I think people are going there. Miami does have one of the higher implied totals on the slate, so I do get that. But they just don't hit lefties very well. And so personally, I won't be going to Miami. I will probably X them out totally.
Okay, fading the Marlins. How about the Cardinals? They're going up against the Orioles today. It'll be righty Kyle Bradish on the hill. Just two starts for him last outing. Give up 4 earned runs off 6 hits, including a home run. 3 strikeouts, 4 innings pitched. That was kind of it for him. His opponent average is over 300. So I definitely see the value in this play.
Yeah, plus great weather in St. Louis.
Yes, 90 degrees, I think.
Yeah, so the ball should be flying a little bit. We're just going to pick on the rookie. He hasn't been good. He's got to prove it before I trust Bradish.
Great play, yeah.
He has almost a 6 FIP, low 5.2 ERA. Terrible StatCast numbers, 44% fly balls, 31% hard contact. He's allowing 1.8 home runs per 9. There's just a lot of things not in his favor. The one thing I would like to point out is St. Louis has been bottom 10 versus righties. So
there's one bright spot.
That's the one bright spot for Bradish.
For him.
Everything else looks great for St. Louis.
I think that's the warmest game yet that we'll see. 90 degrees. I don't remember a game or weather that I looked at this year that was near that temperature. It's also humid there. That's not going to bode well for the pitchers.
I will be happy to see some warmer weather,
we need
some more
runs.
some more hits,
Come on.
some more runs. Yep.
All right, let's take a look at our lower owned stacks, see where we can maybe find a little value. And the first team is the New York Yankees going up against Blue Jays lefty Yusei Kikuchi. Now, you like to go against him a lot, but although the last time it didn't work in your favor, I'm sure because he listened to the show and he knew he wanted to prove
Probably.
me wrong.
He was mad at me and really proved his point. But Yankees crush lefties.
Yeah.
Kikuchi's given up home runs this year. Even with his last good start, his last 5 numbers are still awful. They've actually just came lower to match his last 20 numbers. So that good start, just brought him closer to his averages. 5.86 FIP. He's walking 6.1 batters per 9, which is a huge thing that I'd like to point out. Just because one thing is Yankees hit the ball hard and they get a lot of home runs. And if there's a couple people on base, then they can really get to
damage
to teams quick. Yeah. So 36% hard contact rate, average X velocity is almost 92. I just simply want to kind of pick on him again.
Second highest slugging percentage versus lefties.
Yeah, they're the third. I think the third best in WRC plus versus lefties. So
Could we see an Oppo Taco to the short porch on Taco Tuesday?
I think we could.
Keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
Rays going up against Angels lefty Reed Detmers now. 5.32 ERA for him. Last time out, gave up 3 earned runs in 4 2/3. Just 2 strikeouts. And the Rays have the 3rd highest average versus lefties. So I totally love this play here. What do you like about it?
I mean, they have a 130 WRC plus versus lefties. They're hitting 262, 410 ISO. Detmers, meanwhile, is allowing 1.7 home runs per 9, and he has a 5.4 FIP. Tampa Bay has been hot. Pretty much, I think everything's kind of in that way. They're also not that expensive. Margot's been on fire lately. He did get shaken up a little bit, but if he is in the lineup, I definitely would probably want to play him too.
And I do believe, let me just check. Yeah, wind blowing out there, 10 miles an hour. Just a little breeze, but hey, it helps. You know? It's just a little bit.
Hey, a little bit helps. And a couple other stacks I like: Mets, Royals, Rangers. So.
Yeah, Mets facing lefty Patrick Corbin. We got a lot of southpaws on the mound today.
We do.
Royals versus Rangers lefty Martin Perez. So both pitchers, haven't been great this year. So some other good stacking options.
Yeah.
There. Remember, if you would like to optimize your lineup, visit LineStarApp.com or download the LineStar app. Great way to find your stats, even for prop bets, stuff like that. Be sure to check that out before you place your lineups and maybe win some money. Now, let's take a look at our home run calls of the day.
Yes.
Yesterday, just a quick little recap, Mike Trout delivered the day you said, when in doubt, Mike Trout. And he delivered for you with that nice campaign slogan.
I like it.
Keep it going here. Who are you going with today?
I am going with Aaron Judge.
You need a gavel. You can use the
I really do.
Like. There you go.
So anyways, Judge is a 345 ISO versus lefties and 545 ISO versus Kikuchi. Kikuchi's allowing 1.8 home runs per 9. I just want to pick on the lefty. All rise.
All rise for Aaron Judge. Love to see that every time.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to the other New York team. I'm going Pete Alonso. He's going up against the lefty Patrick Corbin, who quite simply is giving up over a 300 opponent average this season. And in 32 at-bats versus Corbin, throughout his career, Alonso has a 781 slugging percentage and 4 home runs against Corbin. So I really like this matchup today. Although this season, only one of his 7 home runs has come against a lefty, I think today he makes it 2. Give me a polar bear bomb. We're going there.
Let's do it.
I love that nickname, by the way. That's a great one. One of my favorites.
It is a good one.
Polar bear. All right. Now let's take a look at our prop bets of the day. You've been leaning pitchers lately. Are you headed there once again?
I am. I am not doing a strikeout prop, though.
Okay.
So we are going how do you pronounce his name?
Yusei
Kikuchi under 15.5 outs. I think plus 140 is way too good value to pass up.
Yeah,
Once I saw that, I had to jump on it. He's only done this once this season. It was against the Yankees last start.
Okay.
But that was in Toronto. This is in New York. But versus New York, he has been under in 4 of his 6 starts, but dating back to 2019. He's only averaging 80 pitches per start. He's walking 6.1 batters per 9. He's only averaging 12 outs per game. And meanwhile, New York Yankees is 3rd best in WRC plus versus lefties. So with all of that, 140 is way too good a value.
Man, you did the research for that. I'm about to sign up just because that was just a great analysis.
140 is just too much value.
Yeah, that's a great play. And the one thing we really haven't, I don't know if we mentioned it, but they've played each other. It seems like he's faced them so many times that probably the Yankees bats know exactly what's coming.
Yeah, and I mean, they faced them last week. So.
Exactly. All right, where I'm going is, of course, I've got to go Aaron Judge. Here's my gavel. All rise. Aaron Judge to account for a run that's at plus 105, which is, I think, awesome for anything Aaron Judge. Now, he crushes lefties with a 342 ISO against left-handed pitching. Today, going up against Blue Jays lefty Yusei Kikuchi, who has already given up 2 home runs to him this season. You know, I'm on a cold streak, and here is my slogan. Just don't hold a grudge. Just go with Judge. All rise, Aaron Judge delivers in that run category today.
I like that we do have some correlation here between our props, too.
Yes, we are on the same page. Great minds think alike. Okay, let's take a look at some weather notes just to leave you with. Toronto at Yankees. Now, winds will be blowing in from left at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. And Orioles at Cardinals, gentle wind blowing out. Temps near 90, very humid, great for hitters there. We mentioned it earlier. Just a really good matchup for St. Louis in this game. Guardians at White Sox. Storms should stay north of Chicago until after the games, so that's good news there. And Rays at Angels, just light winds, 10 miles an hour, but it's blowing out. And Rockies at Giants, wind blowing out at about 15 miles an hour, so keep that in mind. Love that we're having good weather finally, though. We don't see much rain on the forecast. Always good things happening there. So another great slate.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
And that'll do it for us today.
Yeah. So quick promo, though. Visit the LineStar app. Visit LineStarApp.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to hit like and subscribe. Comment below. Give us, ask us your questions about your lineups.
Tell us about a story where you blew the no-hitter.
Here we go. I will not live that one down for quite a while, I'm sure. All right. Well, best of luck to you guys today. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye. Have a good one.